all the guys that died in death row got a mama, got a brother, got a sister. Every February the 5th, I go through something. I lost my brother to Death Row Records, you know?
Yeah, 13 bullet wounds, there's no way they could get that with a drive-by.
They had shot at Heron before that, man.
From the label CEO, who built one of the most powerful music empires in history, on the backs of a blood gang from East Compton.
He ain't us, never been, but he's getting all this credit.
To the street-level enforcer who was shot while pumping gas to the bodyguard who pulled triggers at Suge Knight's orders, and the men who died when the money ran out and Suge went to prison.
Hell yeah. I'll answer that. He definitely was a killer. He looked like it. He acted like it.
To the final two members of the crew, the personal security guard and the feared hitman, both ambushed and killed on the streets of Compton. This is the story of Mob Piru and what Death Row Records actually was. The Piru Street Boys were formed in Compton in 1969. Two men, Sylvester Scott and Vincent Owens, built it as a Crips-affiliated gang. The relationship collapsed within a few years. By 1972, the Pirates had allied with the Brims, the Bishops, and the Denver Lanes, all of them against the Crips. That alliance became the Bloods. Their rivals included the Southside Compton Crips and eventually another blood set called the Fruittown Piru. But before the streets claimed them, a towering, ambitious figure from the neighborhood saw an opportunity to weaponize their reputation. His name was Marion Hugh Knight Jr. The world would come to know him as Suge. Born April 19, 1965 in Compton. He played defensive end at Linwood High School, got a scholarship to UNLV. The Los Angeles Rams signed him in 1987 as an undrafted free agent. He did not make the roster. He came back to Compton with no contract and no plan. He got into music, security work, artist management, and backroom dealing. By the early 1990s, he had found a partner in Dr. Dre, who had just left NAAA. In 1991, they co-founded Death Row Records. The first two albums were The Chronic and Doggy Style. Combined, they sold over 7 million copies. Death Row was the hottest label in the country within 2 years of opening. Suge ran it like the set he came from. He brought Mob Piru into the building as the operation itself.
Everybody had a position. And they was fly. The uniforms was fly, smoke gray.
James McDonald said it plainly. Suge was never really a gang member. He used the mob as a tool.
Suge ain't the one that was picking people up, slamming them on the ground. He wasn't the one knocking people out. It was us.
Access and money in exchange for what the music industry couldn't manufacture. The credibility and fear that came from being genuinely connected to the streets. It worked. For a while. Today, Suge Knight is serving 28 years for voluntary manslaughter, civilly dead. The cost of that street credibility fell on his inner circle, starting with his closest friend, Buntry. Alton was the younger brother of James McDonald, who is also known as Mob James. Born February 5th, 1966. He came up in the Mob Piru the same way James did and ended up as production manager at Death Row Records, running logistics for the most commercially dominant hip-hop label in the country while being one of Suge Knight's closest friends in the world.
My brother is out of jail. My brother is meeting Suge and just start talking to him, yada, yada.
He knew Tupac personally, not as a famous person passing through the building, but as someone he moved with every day during the 11 months Tupac spent on death row. When Tupac got the mob tattoo on his right arm, it was people like Buntry who understood what that was going to cost him. On September 7th, 1996, Buntry was at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas for the Mike Tyson fight. When Orlando Anderson was spotted on the casino floor, Buntry was in the group that moved on him. He was there when Tupac threw the first punch. He was there for the stomping. Hours later, Tupac was shot on Flamingo Boulevard. 6 days after that, he was dead. Buntry had been standing next to him at the MGM Grand that same night. On April 3rd, 2002, Alton McDonald was pumping gas at a station near his home in Compton. A pickup truck pulled up. People got out and opened fire. He was shot 9 times in the chest and died at St. Francis Medical Center in Linwood.
He got stabbed.
Who?
Your brother.
No, he was shot 9 times. He was shot 9 times.
He was 36 years old, Nobody was ever arrested. Buntry's execution sent shockwaves through the set, but he was far from the first to drop. 5 years before Buntry was ambushed at that gas station, another core member of the Inner Circle became the very first casualty of the brewing street war. Heron was Suge Knight's bodyguard. Mob Piru, he was part of the security structure built around Death Row's artists and operations. On September 7th, 1996, he was at the MGM Grand. He was in the group that beat Orlando Anderson on the casino floor. Surveillance footage placed him there directly. Hours later, Tupac was shot. 6 days later, he was dead. Suge went to prison the following year. The protection that came with being connected to Death Row disappeared. What remained was the street war without the infrastructure. On June 1st, 1997, less than a year after the night at the MGM Grand, Heron was shot dead in Compton.
But I knew he was dead. I knew he wasn't gonna make it. He was shot up.
His murder was the first in the wave of killings investigators tied to the war between the Mob Piru and the Fruittown Piru. He did not live to see how any of it ended. Up next is Wardell Fowles, who grew up in Compton. He went by Poochie, was a Mob Piru. He moved through the death row world during its peak years, not as a manager or former bodyguard, but as someone whose reputation entered rooms before he did. Danny Boy, an artist at Death Row, described him plainly. He definitely was a killer. He looked like it. He acted like it when he came in the room. He wasn't a tall man. He wasn't big. To me, he looked like he wasn't the one to fuck with.
Hell yeah. I'll answer that. He definitely was a killer. He looked like it. He acted like it. You kind of felt it when he came in the room.
In 1995, an aspiring rapper named William Ratcliffe cornered Suge Knight in a bathroom with 10 other bounty hunter bloods, pressing him for a record deal. After that, Ratcliffe was murdered. Former LAPD detective Greg Kading writes in Murder Rap that Foose killed him on Suge's orders. On March 9, 1997, Christopher Wallace, the Notorious B.I.G., was shot and killed in Los Angeles, leaving the Soul Train Music Awards afterparty. He was 24. He was in a Chevrolet Suburban on Wilshire Boulevard when a dark Chevy Impala pulled alongside, and the driver. Kading's investigation concluded that Suge arranged the hit through his then-girlfriend Teresa Swan, who contacted Faust. Faust was paid $13,000. After Swan confessed, the FBI sent her into a prison visit with Suge wearing a body wire. Suge said nothing usable. He was never charged.
We just know that Teresa Swan met with Poochie. A deal was made that Poochie would carry out the hit, and that there was a transfer of money.
Wardell Fowles was never charged with anything connected to Wallace's death. On July 24, 2003, he was shot dead in Compton. He was 40 years old. The murder of Christopher Wallace remains officially unsolved. Trayvon Lane ran with Suge Knight's close entourage through the mid-1990s. He was there at events, at the label, in the convoy that went wherever Suge went. In the summer of 1996, he was at Lakewood Shopping Mall in Compton when Orlando Anderson and a group of Southside Compton Crips approached him. They took his death row chain. It was not a random robbery. Taking the chain of a man from Suge Knight's inner circle in broad daylight was a message. Trey told people what happened. It got back to the crew.
Homies right there, like, there go dude that snatched my chain. You know what I'm saying?
On September 7th, 1996, at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, someone in the death row entourage spotted Orlando Anderson near a bank of elevators after the Tyson fight and pointed him out. Said that was the one who robbed Trey at the mall. Tupac moved first. The group followed. Anderson went down on the casino floor. Surveillance cameras caught all of it. That robbery at Lakewood Mall is what put Orlando Anderson in that casino. It is what started the chain of events that ended with Tupac dead 6 days later. Trayvon Lane survived. Everything around him did not. James McDonald grew up in Compton with Suge Knight. He was shot 4 times during his years in the Mob Piru. A .38 caliber handgun shot to the chest. A shotgun shooting in 1982. A .45 caliber handgun shooting at a house party. He survived all of it. It was James who introduced Suge to his younger brother Alton and to the rest of the mob.
I introduced my brother to this dude when he got out of the penitentiary.
He ran the Let Me Ride hydraulic shop that Suge owned and handled enforcement work that predated the label.
But when I opened the shop, I had him in position up in that motherfucker. I had Z, I had Buntry, I had James.
He was the bridge between the street organization and the business Suge was building. When Suge went to prison in 1997, James left. He said the mob was left holding the bag. The men who had given the most were never fairly compensated. The cars, the houses, the money, it all came with an expiration date nobody had mentioned. James McDonough did not die in the violence that took the others. He walked away and spent the years after talking about what he saw. He said, if it wasn't for Suge, none of this would have ever happened. Southside would be in their neighborhood. Mob would be in their neighborhood. Tupac would still be here. All of this is Suge Knight. He is still alive. He is one of the few from that inner circle who can say that. Buntry, Heron, Poochie, 3 of the men from Suge Knight's inner circle, murdered in Compton within 6 years of each other after death row collapsed and the money was gone. None of those murders produced a conviction.